Greetings and welcome back to Drasir TMD. My name is Drasir and you're watching Space Engineers with Rabenschild. That's right, I was recently invited to go hang out with Rabenschild in his world, and it was an absolute treat to spend some time with him and get to see all the things he's built and actually be in the world that he's recording for his series. It was kind of surreal and fun, and it was really cool. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next few days. So today, Friday and Sunday are all going to be parts of that mini-series. So without any further babbling or messing around, let's just go ahead and roll the tape.
Today, because I wanted to have a bit of breathing room before I do anything more with our science project, I have a guest. I have Drasir with me, Drasir TMD. Good sir, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I just realized I probably should have set this up before I got started.
I usually don't do that. I don't all the things on my hotbar. I don't know. My brain would just stop working if I already also had these things. You're still you're still waving.
Am I still waving? That may be something I will never stop doing. Let me try and change to
yeah, change to a tool, and hopefully that changed. It changed.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we noticed that there is some problems with you joining my world, because we are so far apart when it comes to where in the world you are, that we have 9 hours between us. So you're sitting somewhere on the other side of the US, and so we will have to take this all a bit slow. Yeah, I wanted to just have you here to introduce you to my audience, and to, have someone here that I can just talk to, and that, maybe wants to see something or whatsoever. First question that I have is always, how did you end up in Space Engineers?
Oh, that is a good question. Okay, I'm going to have to wind back the years a little bit here.
I was born in
many thousands of years ago.
Oh, okay, that would be crazy. Then you would have a good story on your hand, or you wanted to start somewhere close to the dinosaurs and say, no.
So actually, the funny thing was I initially got introduced to Space Engineers, I believe is while I was looking for homeworld videos. And I happened to stumble across Captain Shack's videos about that, and next to it was Space Engineers. I was like, oh, it has the word space and engineer in it, so that sounds like fun. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's basically Lego blocks, and it's got physics, it's got space, it's just amazing. And at the time I couldn't actually run it because my system was so bad. So for years I just had to live vicariously, watching people play Space Engineers.
It depends when you saw that no system was able to run Space Engineers really well. So sorry, I didn't want to.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, it took me a while, but once I got a rig that could handle it, I started playing it, and I just cannot stop. It's such a fun game. But yeah, it was basically introduced to me through YouTube, effectively. And then once I got the means to do it, I just kept playing and playing and playing.
We have some, and that's for the audience, we have some audio issues again because of the distance. So there is some breakups. If I don't know, sometimes I might just ask you to say that again.
Sure thing.
Come again, please.
Yep.
Come again. No, all good. So you are relatively new to... I'm not sure how when did you start to also do YouTube? Was it with Space Engineers? So what were the first Space Engineers videos you did also the first videos you did on YouTube?
No. Well, okay, yeah. The first video I ever did that I published was a Space Engineer video. That's the first one you ever see on the series I've got. But I did do some tests earlier to try and get it to work, and for a short time I got so frustrated because I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, and I didn't know anybody who could kind of help me out at the time. I kind of stopped, and so I was like, it's not for me. I just want to play the game. And then a little while later, I decided to try it again, and for whatever reason, it just clicked in my brain, and so it was actually a couple of years between times. So the most recent videos are the first ones I've ever published, but I did do some tests prior to this, but that was years and years ago.
Okay. It's just a thing because we ran into each other's and I just wanted to hear that because you said, don't know, you started out your YouTube series and don't know, yeah, but I watched all the videos and was really kind of satisfied with what I saw. And so that's always interesting to me how people then ended up doing Space Engineers on YouTube. Again, it always interests me to see how people that do Space Engineers end up on YouTube, or usually how people end up on YouTube. You don't seem to have the usual course for every other Space Engineers that I kind of talk to, where people just came from Minecraft and then went to Space Engineers because Space Engineers is more spacey and more science fiction-y and all that stuff. So that's the usual thing. That's my way. So it's always interesting to hear someone that says, no, I started out with Space Engineers. Good thing. I especially kind of wanted to bring you in to show off my mining rig to you. Doing a mining rig at the moment, and we can later go there so that we take another look at the Martian surface. That is also nice because then I can not breathe the air of Mars for a bit. But first, I always give the people, especially you, because you're also in my audience, kind of. I always like to just give the people the chance to just say, I want to see this and that, and then don't know. Otherwise, we just shoot it, I would say.
Well, while we're here at the station, I would love to go and see some of the other the big ships that you've got. I think it's the Empress and the Duchess.
The Duchessa is directly in front of you out there.
Oh, that's that one. Okay.
In the windows.
I can never keep track of which one is actually which, to my detriment, unfortunately. But I love these are easily my favorite ships that you've got. Some of them are just
again the
amazing.
Duchessa. I always have to say that the Duchessa is just not mine. I just modified her. The original design is a thing that was put in by Keen years ago when they started to put in the encounters, and that's a build by Stone Cold Jane Austen, I think is the name. And that's one of the first ships I found. I'm not sure if it's the complete first ship that I found, but I went out to get into the new encounters and then found her. We can go outside. Do you have air? I think I supplied you with everything.
Yes.
You still saw the Empress. Or you already saw the Empress because I had to grab you from the alien planet. That's one thing. That's where you spawned. But we definitely can take a look at that ship again. Again, the Duchessa is something I modified, and the Empress is basically the Duchessa, just a lot bigger.
Okay, I am falling.
Oh no! Yeah, we have turn on your
Okay, I have a
Your jetpack.
I have a simultaneous issue. The jetpack says it's on, but I'm kind of bouncing, and my jetpack, my helmet says it's off, and I think I might be dying, but I can't tell because it's.
I don't see you, so that could be the case. Oh no, we run into many. Let me make a short break, and we will come back when everything's said. That took a while longer than we thought. It's just, oh man, multiplayer issues are just getting crazy. I hope that doesn't happen again. I don't know. We will see. We will just soldier on and just continue to do stuff. So we wanted to take a look at you wanted to take a look at the Duchessa and
yes, indeed,
the other ships. So
I think I'm just going to have to be extremely careful with how I interact with everything.
do that. I would appreciate that you would be extremely careful in my world. I don't know. There's options now where I could turn off everything like grinding and explosions and all that stuff. So, but yeah, the Duchessa again. I talked about her so many times, but it's the ship I carry everywhere. And in this world, I found her through one of the mods, basically again. Because I'm not sure if the encounter is just gone now or something like that, but there was a crashed ground encounter, and there I had the Duchessa again. Oh, let me turn off. I still have some things turned on to monitor the all the issues. So
it's a really fun ship. It's so cool, and I love that. I think I saw the episode where you found it, and didn't it just kind of show up? It was close to where your base was. It happened to spawn very near to where the rest of your stuff was. Was that right?
Relatively close. So when space engineers are brought in the whole encounter system, they had some just taken off of the workshop, some blueprints, and put that in. And I didn't fly far, I think. I can't remember. It's so long ago. But she was, somewhere in open space, just sitting there waiting for me. And that ship, again, since then, I took that everywhere except this world, because the last Duchessa kind of got, in a big crash. The world was just gone, and the Duchessa was gone with it. And then I said, okay, I will not just spawn her back in. And I saw the mod, I don't know, it's crashed planetary ground encounters or something like that. And that brings in some of the old encounters as just crashed ships on planets. And that's where I was happy to see her again, let's say. And then after that I took the shape of this ship, built the Empress, and all that stuff. But the Empress was also a ship from the last world, kind of.
And this one's a really cool one too.
It takes shape. That's always the thing with everything I do. How's that in your world? Your world is relatively young compared to all the stuff I've done. So you are in the phase where it basically builds up, and I really enjoy seeing that. To just have okay, I would need this, and maybe I could do this, and your little fighter you made there, and all that stuff. I dabbled with the atmospheric, the wings mod. I dabbled for that a bit too, but I don't know. I at one point just left that back somewhere. Ooh, I'm running out of energy. Let me refuel that somewhere. Do I have a? Yeah, sure. I don't have anything here. That's how that works.
Well, I'm gonna wander over to the very, very big one over here real quick.
The big blue, or Big Blue is don't know. I needed a replacement for the Empress, and that's how Big Blue came to life.
It's funny because of all the things on this ship, I love these two red tank-looking things. I absolutely love it. I don't know why it kind of just cracks me up, but why I like that look so much. It just looks fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, for me it was the thing that I wanted to start to kind of modify the outside and give it a bit. Don't know, give it. Don't have everything so flat. My ships most of the time end up being just flat, and that's something you need to break up. And so the tanks were a decision to just say, okay, I need hydrogen tanks somewhere. Why not make tanks on the outside? So and then these two came in. Most of the ships I have are somewhat inspired. It's good to say that you looked up homeworld stuff on ships. Most of my builds are somewhat inspired by homeworld ships.
Right,
So
right.
that's how that comes to be. Again, the Big Blue was. I don't know. I wanted to have it different, and then it ended up in that shape. Before I had a two-hull concept, and that was nothing I wanted to have in the end anymore. And so I removed that, mirrored the left side, and then ended up with this ship. It's yeah, I like that. The yeah, I wait for the moment when you start to just go crazy.
That's why I'm not touching it. I'm like, if I just stay out in open space, I should be okay.
No, in your world.
I see. I'm sorry. I thought you mean the. I got
so
you.
at the moment, you stay relatively small and compact.
Well, it's funny you should say that because the last episode I recorded, I actually got to a point. I won't spoil it too much, but I got to a point where. I got frustrated with how long things were taking, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to build this. I'm going to brute force it. I'm going to build this big thing, and just take care of the problem. And you'll see it when it starts. But the funny thing is it ended up creating far more problems than it solved. So
I can yeah. That's something I can, yeah. I have that some of the times too. Just touch the thing now. Come on the inside,
right.
so we
will try, and hopefully it won't just fling me across the universe.
No,
Here,
it will not.
It's gonna. Okay, I'm on ground. There. Okay, good.
If you need to reload energy, there's things everywhere to just
excellent
reload your pack. The hangar area is at the moment really dark. I need to lighten the mood a bit in here. I've some lamps now that I can use, but we can go more into the habitable part of the whole ship. With the new decorations blocks, I don't know. I still have to replace things. But the living area.
Oh, very nice.
It's most of my people already. You should have seen that somewhere.
I probably did. Unfortunately, I've been binging your episodes so much now that one detail is lost to another. Unfortunately, it's the downside of going through them so quickly like that. I don't get to absorb everything.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that you don't have so many episodes. It's always good to see, again, someone starting out with the whole thing. I always think then about how I started. And before I started Space Engineers, I already had a lot in Minecraft. And so I was... In Space Engineers, I was not so nervous and so set back that I was so, okay, how do I start this now? And that's a good thing. I always you did that really well. The whole starting out, it seemed to be for someone that didn't do just did tests basically before, the whole thing worked out pretty well. Again, you have to run around. I will follow you, and
Okay.
you will have to ask me questions. Otherwise, I'm running out of questions.
Understood.
It's
Oh,
again, it's
so this is
for me. For me, this is.
Oh, this is the docking area. Okay.
I had that because before I had a dock here, but not this part. Kind of that changed. And I needed a way to dock it up to this station before.
Gotcha.
Now I have the whole docking port with cameras and all that stuff, so it's not really needed anymore. But no, so you also play Abduction with your wife?
Yes. Yeah, we actually just finished that series last week, I think it was.
I watched. I have to admit that I only watched a few episodes of that.
It's definitely, it's one of those things where I'm kind of like wary about, doing space engineers and that, but at the same time, I figured, I'm just going to play games that I think are fun, and if they work out, they work out, and if they don't, they don't. And honestly, that's how this all started, was just pretty much what can I do that will be fun, and it wasn't so much what can I do to that people will enjoy. It was just what can I do and will people enjoy it. It was more of an experiment than a specific. You know what I'm saying?
That's always something. That's a weird thing because that is the way how that goes, because usually people say. This was right. So, people always say, do what you have fun doing. But on the other hand, sometimes projects you start because you have fun don't seem to really get to the people as much. So, but on the other hand, just throw it at the people and just do it. I can just hope that people then enjoy that. This room is still very, very much empty because I don't know. The ship is so big that some rooms will, get filled really later. If you build big, there's nothing. There's just a hull behind that. You can go in there. It's not a problem. But then you might have to close your helmet. It could be. Well, everything else should be pressurized. But
I'm loath to take my helmet off just in case I can't put it back on again.
Yes. There should be air everywhere. For me, your helmet, I think, is open. So let me take a look. Yeah, for me, your helmet is open.
Is it? See,
yeah.
My system says it's still closed, so I.
Yeah, then we will see how that works out when we come back into space. This is just an edit area where I have put down freight containers, so cargo containers, so that I don't know. I can. There's so much stuff to store in this world.
So I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing that you've built?
Oh.
I mean, I figure it's probably one of those things that changes from time to time because, you end up getting more passionate about one project or another. But is there anything in particular that strikes you that you've built that you couldn't do without? If you had to take one thing with you, what would it be?
That's really hard to say because I've built so much stuff that I really cannot. I cannot go in and just say, okay, I want to. If I were able to just keep one thing, from a practical standpoint, Big Blue or the Empress would be the most practical thing because they just have everything. But there's so much stuff. We can go on the outside. Then we can. I don't know. We can also stay in here. I just want to. So
that's okay.
Big Blue is one thing I wouldn't want to miss.
Hang on. I'm gonna head back inside real quick and try to put my helmet back on because apparently
your helmet is really off. Oh no! Don't let us run into. Yeah, now your helmet is closed.
Oh, it is, okay.
So
It's just taking a while for it to update to say that it's on or off.
okay. And are you dying?
I'm hearing dying sounds, but my health is not going down, so for the minute, we're okay.
I don't know. I don't want to cram your recording if you...
No, it seems to be okay.
The big blue is something I wouldn't want to miss. But there's other things. For example, in the first world I built a ship with Armitage Shanks. That was one of the first visitors I had, and that was the turtle. That was a very practical approach to having a utility ship, and that thing was really nice. After that, I don't really needed it anymore, but thinking back about that always gives me the feeling that, man, having the turtle would be a cool thing. But then there's so many different things. This ship, for example, that's the new Get Everywhere ship.
I love the way this one looks.
That thing is so practical and so nice that, don't know, not having this thing would be a pain. But the next thing would be, over here I have one of the vector thrust crafts. And that's also a thing where I would say, I don't know if I would have to choose. On the other hand, the Duchessa is always the thing that comes with me. But on the other hand, that's something I just modified. So we have to kind of specify the rules a bit and say, is modification also a thing that I build? Or I think Big Blue would be the most practical thing. The Miner is something I always like. Then I have the atmosphere craft around Mars that you will see that later, hopefully.
Oh, now it says I'm dying. 1 second. There we go.
No.
Okay, now the helmet's on as well, so it's equaled out. Oh, and it's off again. Fantastic.
No, for me it shows as on.
Now it's back on again. It's so funny. I simultaneously love and hate the desync shenanigans.
It's you have a crazy high ping, so maybe that's some of the issues. On the other hand, also the bases. So that's a question I really can't answer because again,
it's a difficult one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, most practical thing would just be Big Blue, because Big Blue has everything and has all the abilities that I really need to get around in the world. So I don't know.
Speaking of vector thrust, though, that's something I definitely want to try a bit more in my world, because I initially wanted to start with wings and see how well it would work out. And I must admit, there's little issues with the wings that I have been having some problems with that are kind of switching me off from them. That I kind of want to switch to the vector thrust stuff. And I have a plan in mind for one particular ship that I've been wanting to build forever and just never got round to it, which I hope to get round to at some point during the series.
The problem with the wings is I like the idea, but they don't work like wings.
No.
They work like thrusters that work when you are fast. So if they... And I know that is something that might not be possible. I know that there's mods out there that try to do the whole thing with bringing in flaps and the whole stuff you need to steer an aircraft, kind of. But the flight model of the wings is so weird that always kind of brought me off of them. Because in the end, you end up with a ship that just replaces upthrust with wings, and you need everything else. You need front thrust, you need back thrust, because there's no drag, there's nothing, and
I mean, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice that it has a fairly decent approximation. But I noticed that a couple of times when I've been maneuvering, it obviously, because there's no aerodynamics, it just doesn't act the same way. And there are mods for aerodynamics, but even those I haven't tested fully or anything, so I couldn't say for sure. But even those don't quite do it justice, and they interfere with the rest of the physics, which is what everything here is built on. So it's a tough one, and so I think I'm kind of leaning away from the wings at this point.
With vector thrust, you run into, in my opinion, one of the and I say that often, one of the coolest scripts out there. You will have to add mods to get that run. There's a control module mod that you will have to install, and press, I think, 3 and then X.
3?
So 3 is there's a programmable block entry on the thing, and then I think, did you turn that on? Give me a sec. Let me take a look.
Oh no. Oh dear.
Can't you get out again?
So from my perspective, I am half in the cockpit.
Do you have the DLC pack, or?
I do, yes.
Okay. Just, can you get out?
No. It almost appears like I'm not in there. Like I tried to get in, and I'm now phased.
Yeah,
through
maybe it takes a while. Like your helmet. Maybe we just wait 3 minutes to just finally everything reacts the way it should.
I was gonna say, there we go. Okay, good. Okay, fantastic. Because I was like, my energy is going down, and I need to get into a seat.
But yeah, now you are sitting in the cockpit.
I am in the cockpit. Yes.
Okay, if you can press 3.
Is that going to switch the ship on?
Yes.
The reason I ask is I'm loath to do anything in here because of the desync.
Come on, just try it.
Okay.
Okay. Now the script is turned on. So now you press X.
X.
Now, okay. Maybe try moving it up.
Okay.
Now it's moving. So vector thrust is one of the coolest scripts out there, and the guy that made vector thrust, 1WSX10, he definitely knows that I absolutely adore his script because this thing, the function it has and the way it utilizes thrusters and rotors and all that stuff makes it a lot of fun to just build with that. As long as you don't go crazy forward, everything should be okay.
How about if I go relatively close to? How about if I go crazy backwards? There's a ship right behind me.
Okay. Should I turn on the shields? Then you can do whatever you want. It would be a bit bad because you would ruin the ship, and I like this. But just go backwards. It's not that speedy. Okay.
I love, and that's what I love about this script is, the auto moving the. That's actually a good question. How is it?
Looks cool. It looks cool. It works really nice. He says, "Oh, there's some problems with it," but if you listen to what he says, then you definitely end up with a working ship that don't know can do everything, and this thing works really, really well. And after I got the mining rig on the Earth-like planet to work with vector thrust, that thing is a beauty to fly. When it works, when you have said everything right, the thing flies so well, and this thing behaves amazing, and because of the thrusters, surely, but it does everything you want, and it has all these. One thing I really like is, again, it's the look of the things. You have all these cool nacelles and thrusters that turn and rotate and do things while you're flying, and it's not just I've stuck thrusters on and now it works. I will turn that thing off. Okay. Okay, now is it turned off or did I turn it? No, I turned it back on. You turned it off. You did everything right and turned it off. So I always say go with vector thrust. If you think about changing something with the ways things move in your world, then vector thrust is a real cool idea. If you stick to the rules, and again, you need a rotor strength mod that is able to just up the rotor strength to crazy amounts, but you will need that, and you need to have the control module mod by Digi or Digi so that you can control everything from the cockpit. So normally vector thrust is finicky to set up. You have to do a lot with inputs, with arguments on the programmable block. But if you use the control module, then it's a breeze to set up and then to just fly with it. There's this cool. I shouldn't make all this advertisement for them. It's just, again, if you want to have a change in your mods and want to have a change in how things move in your world, then vector thrust is a way to go. Definitely. At the moment, there shouldn't be anything in there.
So
that's I don't know. I've 3, 4, 5. I think vector thrust things flying around. The small green thing there and all that stuff. I've mothballed them a bit in here, so can stay in here.
I don't think I have seen this one before.
No?
I must have missed it.
You should have. I made an episode, the first episode I ever got not a copyright strike, but a copyright claim for.
Oh, really?
With this. This is a Cobra Mark III from Elite, the Elite series.
Oh.
Especially Elite Dangerous here.
Gotcha.
And I found that, and then I used, what is it? The Blue Danube. That's a song, the classical music. They always play when it docks.
Right.
When the ships dock, and I played that in the background while I built this thing, or while I welded this thing up. And then I got my first copyright claim for that because someone said, no, you are not able to use that. And I didn't want to fight it because I used a Creative Commons version from the Wikipedia or something. So I would have been able to fight it, but at that point, nobody really saw it. So that was completely okay. So yeah, again, vector thrust, your way to go, I think. If you want to build interesting things, vector thrust.
So I do have a couple more questions. One of them I've already forgotten, but while we're here,
yes.
Is this the location where you've been building the telescope recently?
Yes, sure. Up here.
That is awesome. I love this thing.
It's again, I had the idea to just do something, and my creativity was really stifled on the Earth-like, and then I needed to come back and do something with it. But there's still people didn't pick up on certain things. And the people really need to go back into the video, watch the end again, and see if they can pick up on certain things with this telescope. It would be so nice if people would pick up on it. Nobody did.
It's funny because I remember hearing you say that, and I went back and had a quick look, but I didn't have a chance to go through properly. I'm gonna have to look again because now I'm like, what did I miss?
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I was so proud of myself. I was done with it. I had to go to my wife and say, I did, and it's so unnecessary and so dumb.
Oh, man.
And I hope that people would pick up on it. I'm using energy like crazy out here. The flying around in the... Yeah, the telescope, again, I want to have some creative builds in the world and maybe spin a bit of meta around them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the telescope was needed. And I don't know, I really had fun building it. It is weird how much fun it made to just build. The cool thing is Alex Hudson in a comment on the episode kind of came in and said, okay, you could change this and that, and then he had knowledge of stuff like that. He knew stuff about stuff like, and I was okay. Why? I was just techno babbling to just don't know say things because I don't have any clue how this stuff works, or I know how the stuff works, but I don't know how anything is called, and I don't know. So I was just techno babbling, and he said, "Okay, you could change this and that, and you would have a telescope of this and this type." And I was, what? Okay, yeah, that thing here was really fun to build, and I want to do more stuff. It's don't know, having some creative builds around that just don't have any real application. It's just a cool thing.
It's one of those things that, I mean, it harkens back to one of the things I had tried to do initially but kind of got away from right off the bat, was to create structures that look like they had integrity, but then I got to a point where I was like, I don't have time for this. I need to just to deal with something. So I want to try and get back into that, because it makes it more interesting. It's one of those things where it takes up so much time.
It looks weird. That's something to me that looks weird. So if you have structures that just hover and that are just not connected to anything, for me that doesn't feel right. And so it is always nice to see someone work that out. And I usually try to do that too. There's some things where I don't care, but some of the things are don't know. Making the struts below this was necessary for me. Otherwise, this thing just flies in the air, has no connection, and that looks weird.
That's my favorite part, by the way. Even like all the glass inside the structure, I love that. The lenses.
It's a thing where I'm not sure if that in the end breaks the world, because glass is one of these performance killers. But again, that was so needed. To just leave that thing empty, that wouldn't have worked out. So I needed that. I really, really needed that. The thing is, you will end up, you're still in the phase, kind of, when I take a look at your world, you're still in the phase you build up to have enough materials. The thing is, at one point, the world ends being, okay, I have all the stuff in the world. Now what to do with it?
Yep.
And that's another phase in space. And so the start phase is always this, okay, I need energy, I need oxygen, I need hydrogen. Start. If that is done, then you are through the survival part of Space Engineers. Survival is done. And then the whole thing starts, okay, but I want to build more. I want to build rovers. I need supplies, I need ores, I need ingots. And then when that is done, then that part is a lot bigger, and you know that. I don't know. I explained that to you, but that's the thing. And after that, when you're in the phase where you have everything, you have set up everything, and everything works, and you don't need to do anything more, then the next phase begins, where you kind of search for things to do. It's a weird thing, but let us go into the command center for a second, and I can show you what I mean by that.
So quickly, my other question was, now that I've remembered it, how do you maintain that smile?
It's painted on. That's painted on. I recently got that. If you think about the helmet, I recently got that. I didn't have that for a long time. I really struggle to get good suits. I have Jaguar and cow suits, a ton of them. And then the first thing I got that was really nice was this helmet. So we can just take a look at the numbers. Just a short look at the numbers.
Oh my goodness.
So left side down, ingots. And then you know that there's no... So I'm in the phase where I really can do basically everything. And so that's now what I want to do. So why I want to now set up crazy builds that don't have any real purpose. And people always ask, and you will see that once you get more viewers and more comments, people always have good suggestions for really practical things. But how many really practical things do you need? So if you have one miner that works out really good, how many more do you need? That's a real thing. The Kriller is the miner I have is just... that thing clears out everything. And so I don't really need another miner that can do that. But the problem is people want to see that. They want to see better and better stuff, and I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, you see that. Don't know. Now I'm in the phase where I can really dive into just creative builds and all that stuff.
It is fun too when you get to that point as well.
But I'm waiting to see what crazy stuff you throw at the people. There's so many people out there that put out Space Engineers content, or it's a lot less than the Minecraft crowd, but the Space Engineers people, we have some really good people when it comes to YouTube that do so many creative things. And again, my absolute the person I admire the most when it comes to Space Engineers for me is always Splitsy, because this guy is doing something similar to me with a lot less mods, but he's doing something similar to me. He's trying everything in survival. He's building everything in survival. Maybe he tests a bit in creative. I don't know. But
don't wish to alarm you, but there's a signal taking off at high speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come over here. Maybe we can see it. No, I think we can't. It's too small. See, directly underneath the big blue, the tail end of the big blue, there's an asteroid with a red iron patch on there. That's that's where my PAM miner is going to. So
okay. I suppose
the
I should have.
signal that took off is my auto miner.
I should have guessed that, I suppose, but every time I've had a world that has had a anything automated, it's not even automated, but the ability to do something without you.
Yeah.
When I see something taking off in a this way direction at high speed, I'm like, it's gone. I'm never going to see that again.
What's breaking now? Oh no. Yeah, it's weird to see that. Sometimes I also have the feeling that what's coming in? What is that? But
that's also really cool, that you just kind of over here working, and that little thing is off doing its own thing and gathering resources. That's really cool.
If you want to add another script to your work, then PAM is the thing to do, because that script it doesn't do what I hoped it would do. It's not searching for minerals. But I don't know. It's so easy to set up, and then okay, there's a huge patch of minerals. You want to dig that out, then PAM is your way to go. KMax, another of the YouTubers that I know. Okay, another one of the YouTubers I watch kind of used it to dig out hangar spaces and all that stuff. So it's really versatile. That thing is really versatile. If you want to use stuff like that, then PAM is the way to go.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the 3-part series. Stay tuned for the next one, which will be on Friday. You all have a good one, and I'll see you on the other side.